Mukha akong white lady. Kung mahaba lang yung blouse ko. Pero mo. Good afternoon, I'm Sean Yao, and this is One News Now. Molecular biologist Father Nick Austriaco says that there may be evidence stating no urgent need for booster shots for the general public. Maricel Halili is joining us live from Mandaluyong City for more details. Mase, what was the update from Octa behind this?
Well, from medical experts, actually, Sean, both Father Austriaco and Dr. Salvana said that for now, the data that they have already gathered states that so far, our vaccines, as we all know, were produced before the Delta variant has been discovered. Having said this, they see no need for booster shots for now. Because here in the Philippines, we started the vaccination last March, so we still have to the 6 months for the efficacy of vaccine like Sinovac still has to lapse. Having said that, they're still waiting for more data to back up the idea of having booster shots. Nevertheless, the government has already prepared budget to procure more vaccines for the booster shots. In that case, they will still prioritize those who are included in the senior citizen category and those who have comorbidities, and of course, our medical frontliners. Also, one of the issues discussed earlier is if it is about time to vaccinate those who are 12 to 17 years old. So far, both doctors or both scientists said that they don't see the need to prioritize the minors or those who are ages 12 to 17 years old for now because they're at low risk as compared to those who are already senior citizens.
All right, what about the trend in infections here in the country? We've noticed some sort of downtrend. Did Father Austriaco have anything to say about that?
Well, they admitted that there is still an increase of COVID cases, particularly in Metro Manila. We can see an average of 18 to more than 20,000 cases a day. But the good thing that they have observed is that despite the fact that there is an increase of COVID-19 cases, the number of deaths do not follow. The number of deaths in the country is still low compared to the number of COVID cases that the Department of Health has registered.
Perhaps vaccination working over there. Now, President Duterte, set to shift the conversation over to politics. He has lashed out again on Senator Richard Gordon and at those Senate hearings. What did the palace have to say about that?
Well, one of the issues brought by President Duterte during his talk to the people last night was the accuracy of the RT-PCR test conducted by the Philippine Red Cross. Based on the data that they have gathered, 44 medical personnel out of 49 who underwent the RT-PCR test of Philippine Red Cross has tested positive. But were also tested negative after a confirmatory test in another medical laboratory. He also stated that some of the members of the Presidential Security Group were also tested by the Philippine Red Cross RT-PCR test, but were also tested negative after the confirmatory test in another medical laboratory. Having said this, he actually ordered the Department of Health to investigate this. Secretary Roque said that this move is just to ensure that there is a high credibility and accuracy when it comes to the swab testing in the Philippines.
Any other interesting points from today's briefing, Masa, that we should take note of?
Ash, so far it's just a reiteration of the statement of President Duterte last night. The most significant is the question about the accuracy of the RT-PCR test of the Philippine Red Cross. And one of the questions also that has to be answered by Senator Gordon was the accusation of President Duterte that he actually transferred about 88 million pesos from his PDAF to the Philippine Red Cross.
All right. Thank you so much for that update. Maricel Halili joining us live from Mandaluyong City. Thanks, Maricel. And those alleged false positive results in some Philippine Red Cross labs are now also the subject of a House panel hearing. Marian Enriquez with that story.
The Philippine Red Cross is now being targeted in a House panel hearing. House Deputy Speaker Rodante Marcoleta raised an issue against the agency. He claimed that the agency's Subic lab yielded false positive RT-PCR tests for health workers. Health Secretary Francisco Duque confirmed the report. He said out of the 49 who tested positive in September 3, 44 came out negative in another test in a different laboratory 3 days after.
Which is being investigated now by the lab network headed by under Assistant Secretary Nestor Santiago, whom I believe has already relayed to the RITM to do an evaluation.
Cases like this, said Duque, is an outlier.
The percentage of positivity at about 89% is certainly out of the ordinary.
According to him, the government, through PhilHealth, has paid PRC 6 billion pesos for RT-PCR tests. For another lawmaker, Quezon's 2nd District Representative J.J. Suarez, the government should closely monitor testing laboratories as false positives may cause mental anguish.
Binabayaran naman natin yung pagtitest. So dapat ang makuha nating resulta ay yung totoo naman.
Duque said that they will still have to wait on the result of the investigation. They will submit the consolidated evaluation to be undertaken by the RITM. It will then be forwarded to the Health Facility Service Regulatory Bureau for determination and possible sanctions. The PRC, headed by Senator Richard Gordon, has yet to make a comment. Gordon has been the subject of President Duterte's ire. He heads the Senate Blue Ribbon panel probing government's purchase of alleged overpriced pandemic supplies. For News 5, Marian Enriquez, we are One News.
Experts note that the current waves of infections driven by the Delta variant has been the longest and most severe that the country has experienced. Infectious diseases expert Dr. Ronjean Solante attributes this to increased mobility and lax enforcement of ECQ protocols. Solante and the UP COVID-19 pandemic response team both said cases and hospitalization rates have been much higher as compared to the 3 COVID waves that came before. They also said that severe cases in some hospitals in the NCR are twice as many as the number of available beds in the ICU. And the Senate has renewed its call on the Comelec to extend the voter registration period. But this time around, senators warned the poll body of a budget cut if it again refuses to move the deadline. The upper chamber approved a concurrent resolution calling for voter registration extension until October. The Comelec previously said that they need to stick with the September 30 deadline in order to avoid adjustments once the election season kicks off. We'll have more stories after this quick break. Stay with us. still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. Senator Cynthia Villar is still the country's richest senator based on their 2020 SALANs. Her net worth logged in at almost 4 billion pesos with zero liabilities. The fighting senator, Manny Pacquiao, is at number 2 with a net worth of about over 3 billion pesos. He is followed by Senate President pro tempore Ralph Recto with 581 million pesos in net worth, Mig Zubiri with 220 million pesos, and Bong Revilla with almost 180 million pesos. Meanwhile, some lawmakers in the lower house are looking to tax the rich. The Makabayan Bloc filed House Bill number 10253, which seeks to impose wealth taxes on billionaires by amending the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997. Under this bill, those with assets over 1 billion pesos or 1 billion pesos and more will be taxed 1 to 3%. The group said collections from this wealth tax will be used for medical and anti-poverty programs. Here's a quick look at today's other top stories. The Health Department will revisit the Education Department's guidelines for the pilot run of limited in-person classes. Spokesperson Rosette Vergara said the proposed guidelines were submitted for approval in June when the more infectious Delta variant was not yet a matter of concern for the country. PNP Chief Guillermo Eleazar has ordered an in-depth probe into the death of artist Bree Johnson in San Juan, La Union over the weekend. Johnson's companion, Julian Ongpin, was charged for possession of cocaine, but was later released pending investigation results. And various human rights groups gathered today to mark the 49th anniversary of the declaration of martial law. The People's Caravan began in Commonwealth, Quezon City, and is expected to conclude with a program in Liwasang Bonifacio in the city of Manila later this afternoon. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. Masks on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I'm Sean Yao. We are One News.